All units, attention. Color guard, advance the colors.
Alan Hall, right face.
Present the colors. Ready? Run. Color guard, post the colors. Madam Supervisor, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Present arms. Order arms. All units, right face. Forward, march. Color guard, post.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony you have just witnessed is the traditional changing of colors, which signifies the change of command within the West Seneca Joint Veterans Committee. The committee is made up of delegates from the Navy Seabees Veterans America Island X5, AMVETS Post 8113, Harvey D. Morin Post, VFW Post 2940, the 82nd Airborne Division Niagara Detachment, American Legion Post 735, Marine Corps League Detachment 239, VFW Post 8113. The purpose of the committee is to conduct and coordinate all various veterans activities in the town, which includes planning and executing the Memorial Day and Veterans Day ceremonies. Each year, a rotation basis, the chairmanship passes from one unit to the next. 2019 marks the 62nd year that the Veterans Committee has served the town of West Seneca and West Seneca veterans. This year, the Marine Corps League Detachment 239 has been relieved of their duties by the Navy Seabees Veterans America Island X5, and the chairman of the committee for the coming year will be Garnet Wood. Participating tonight in the changing of colors of ceremony this evening were from Marine Corps League Detachment 239, Alan Chocharzek, outgoing chairman, and Jude Mellon. From the Navy Seabees Veterans of America Island X5, incoming chairman Garrett Wood, Bill Bolger, and Pat George. Thank you for your participation in this, and for all those men and women who have served and continue to serve, we thank you. This meeting will be in memory of Mary Lawn, Phyllis Rush, Kathleen Needham, Thomas Inman, Dolores Stefaniak, John McManus, Gary Woodward, Angela Bieber. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 2nd reorganizational meeting.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye, motion carried. Making a motion to approve the minutes from the January 2nd, 2019 board meeting.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye, motion carried. Moving on to legal items, proofs of publication of a posting of a legal notice of a public hearing to consider a request for rezoning of a special permit for property located at 1412 Ridge Road, being part of lot number 289, including sublots 34, 35, 36, and 37, changing its classification from C1 to C2S for special use for automotive repair shop in the town of West Seneca. I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye, motion carried. Is the petitioner here? Is he here?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, sir, I can't see that far. Come on up, just give us your name and just give us a little few details on the project, and anyone from the public that has a comment, they'll comment, anyone from the board that has a question will ask. Go ahead,
Thank you.
what is your name?
My name is J. Randy Steiner, Amco Transmissions. Good evening Supervisor, ladies and gentlemen of the West Seneca Town Board. Thank you for your consideration of this project, and thank you for your time this evening. The purpose of this project is to return the vacant building located at 1412 Ridge Road into a quality auto repair shop. This building has been vacant in an eyesore for many years. It's currently zoned C1. We're proposing change the zoning to C2S for automotive repair. The adjacent properties on the right and the left are both zoned C2. Its last use was on a variance for motor service. It was formerly a Midas Muffler auto repair shop. It was for more than 40 years. And it was the same, we're proposing the same use it was built for in 1966, about 1966. So what we're going to do is we're going to resurface and repaint the front of the whole building. Install an elevation on the top, similar to what Z-Bar has over on Union Road. We're going to remove all the plywood from the windows, repair any broken glass. We're proposing outdoor lighting that would be downward facing towards the building, away from the street. An issue has come up that we were going to contract with National Grid, and we're going to. I'm not sure that National Grid can come up with something that will not be intrusive to the neighbors. That came up at the last meeting. So we're going to make sure whatever lights we shine on the building and not to the neighboring houses. We're going to install a 6-foot fence on the eastern boundary where there's a residential property, and it's going to be about 30 feet away from the street. And it's going to go all the way to the back of the property. Protect them from headlights or anything else that they, give them the privacy from an auto repair shop. There's going to be no street sign near the street. We'll remove the existing, there's a neglected and broken down street sign pole there. We're going to take that down and get rid of it. We're going to repave the front lot, and we've already replaced the dilapidated and broken overhead doors, and we're not going to do any new construction on the building, on the property at all. We've secured the adjacent property to the east to meet the zoning requirements for 3 parking spaces per service bay. So we're going to have a total of 18 parking spaces. We've done a topographical study and submitted it to the town planning board by a professional engineering firm. In review of the topographical study, there was a draining issue in the back of the building that we took care of by attaching the downspout in the building directly to the DI that's on the town of West Seneca property. There's a storm sewer that runs right behind the building. And also, by not having it go into the downspout, it was just dripping out the back. And we were also worried about getting in any sanitary system. So that's all been taken care of. We also had some standing water in the front. We put a new DI in there. We did that before. We're going to replace the whole driveway anyway, the front lot. Let's see. The town engineer has stated, after reviewing the topographical study, that we're not going to have any impact on surrounding properties. At this point, I'm asking for the board's approval to move forward with rezoning this property to C2S. And thank you again.
Oh, great presentation, Randy, thank you so much. and I appreciate all the work you've already done there. I'm going to ask the board members if they have any comments or questions. Bill? You can make your comments, Bill.
Yeah, Mr. Steiner, first of all, thank you for taking on that property. It has been an eyesore. I live close by there. It's, that water in the parking lot was almost a swimming pool. So thank you for taking on that project and cleaning up the property.
We were calling it Lake Midas.
It's,
So I
it
fixed that.
was large. So thank you again. I just have one question. I reviewed all the plans and the drawings and all that, but there's no sidewalk mentioned on the west front property. I walked that route a little bit and there's only a path on the grass. Would you be willing to put in a sidewalk in the front of your property on the west side? It's approximately 20 feet long. So, now, I'm not asking for any sidewalk in the approach or the driveway or anything, but there's a sidewalk on the east side of your property, but nothing on the west side of your property.
Oh.
It's in the area.
So I thought this question would come up with the planning board. I actually was out there when I was cutting the lawn and wondered about, because there's just a path there. There's a lot of property, it's just a lot of grass and a path. So would I be, and my intention was, and I was trying to decide what the best solution for that was. I was going to either have the paving guy put a sidewalk there, we need a sidewalk there. Or contract with get a different contract with a concrete guy. But what I was picturing, it was more on the east, so the lot, as you enter the property, on the west, it's all pavement, and it's pavement. And then there's a sidewalk that comes up, and then there's a little section in the front of my lot that doesn't have a sidewalk. And I know I got a sidewalk there.
Right, that would be my only request is that, just so the cars don't pull all the way to the curb and force anybody walking that way into the street to get around your vehicles. So it's just a short section of sidewalk down the east side of the property in the front only.
Okay. I'm not sure if I understand the east side.
Pulling in your driveway to the right, towards the bridge, towards,
I was confused. The east side of the property, that is where I'm gonna put the sidewalk.
okay,
Yes.
all right, I didn't see anything in the drawings or the plans or in any of the minutes, so.
It's very good, because I was there plowing, and I noticed there's not even, it's gotta be snow blown and everything.
Correct, okay, that would be my only request before I approve this tonight.
I will place a sidewalk on the east section where that grass is.
Thank you.
Good.
That's it, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jean's good?
Is there anyone from the public that has any comments regarding this project?
Okay.
There being none, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. I'll make a motion to adopt the following resolution pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, whereas the town of West Seneca received an application for rezoning and a special permit for approval for J. Randy Stein, a rezoning for a special permit for property located at 1412 Ridge Road, being part of lot number 289, changing its classification from C1 to C2S for auto repair shop, whereas the town planning board, in compliance with the State Environmental Quality Review Act, environmental conservation law, has reviewed this action, and whereas the town has reviewed the short environmental assessment form prepared and signed by the applicant, therefore be it resolved that based on the examination of the short environmental assessment form, the town determines that the proposed action is not anticipated to result in any significant negative effect of the environment or a negative declaration is hereby issued. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Make a motion to approve the project for rezoning special permit for property located at 1412 Ridge Road, being part of lot number 289, including sublots 34, 35, 36, 37, changing its classification from C1 to C12S for an automobile repair shop, including sidewalks to be installed on the east side of the building in the town, on the street in the town of West Seneca. Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Randy, good luck with your project.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for your investment in the town of West Seneca.
You're very welcome.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good.
Is there anyone from the public that has any comments on the agenda communications?
Being none?
Susan Gims, 99 Covington Drive. I'd like to ask something on under 2D, tabled items, the revision of the zoning for the industrial park review district. I'm wondering if the board will be looking at this again. The way it stands now, this is a very fast review process. It does not allow the public to be involved at all. And if we move it back to the planning board, there will be comment periods for the public, so.
Well, anyway, the new town attorney and I have begun work on this, and we're hoping that in early March we'll be holding a public hearing on the proposed changes to the law. So it's coming, it's just that other things have gotten in the way lately.
Under communications, item number 2, the West Seneca Chamber, we'll be paying them $15,000 annually, is that?
Mhm.
And is that in addition to the money that we pay to Mr. Hathaway,
That's
who
his-
also works?
That's what it
That's
is.
his money.
Oh, that's his money, okay.
Mr. Hathaway is paid by the chamber, not by the town. This is a contract with the chamber, and they employ him to perform those duties.
And it should be noted that we get a quarterly report, and you can find that online, and then once the report is reviewed by the board members, it's sent with a voucher, and payment is sent over to the chamber.
Communications, items 4 and 5. Part-time laborers on buildings and grounds, 2 of them. I'm wondering, are these new positions, and what is it that these gentlemen do in the winter?
You can ask Maddie English that, but they are positions.
Mr. English will not speak to me.
Well, I can't answer that, this is an item that came from Matt English.
So,
I'm just guessing that these are just part-time winter positions that need to be filled. But if you want me to ask him, I will, and I'll call you.
I would appreciate it.
I can, no problem.
Because we have part-timers that he hires in the summertime too, and we see them being hired on, we don't see them, being laid off or.
I'm not sure about that. I think if you look at last month's, he lost a couple people we had terminated on last agenda item. There was a couple of them on there.
Okay, and then there's another full-time employee that he's bringing on. It
where?
would be item number 6.
No, that's not a
Full-time position, that is just the process. As someone retires, then there's movement within the highway department. So Mr. Zimmerman, Greg Zimmerman, has since retired, and Tom Shepard, who is a long-term time employee, a great employee, and this is his turn to move up to that position, and it's well-deserved.
I was wondering if it was a replacement. I thought it might be. That's all
No,
I
that's
have.
how we move, you know,
How we move on, every time someone retires, that's why every part-timer starts in sanitation, then they become full-time, and sanitation moves on into highway, and that's the process. You earn your right to continue your level within the highway department, no one's just put in there.
So I believe Mr. Zimmerman, when he retired, Kevin Smith moved up, and this person is taking Kevin Smith's position. I believe that's how it's working.
that is, it's the movement and highway.
Thank you.
And I would encourage you to look at the list of employees on the website when you have a question like that, and you can see how long they've been with the town, so you know that we're not hiring someone new, they've been an employee for many, many years. My guess is, Mr. Shepherd's probably been with the town close to 30 years, but it's a guess.
At least, okay.
Anyone further? Okay, I'm gonna move on to, table item number 1 will continue to be tabled item number 2, town attorney for the consideration of a bid award for collection and processes of recyclables.
Hold on, I gotta get that. Okay.
So I'm gonna make a motion to award, the recyclable bid to Modern. And the contract and pricing worksheet is attached for the annual cost base of 16,500 units served at $696,465. And the other unit being is that the one we went with?
Provider.
Option one.
Option one.
Yes, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. I just had to make sure there's,
So many items.
It's gonna be 4221 per unit, 696,465 for 16,500 units. And the processing fee for 1 ton will be 43.75.
I picked the right one then. Yes. It's a lot there.
Make sure.
anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
If I may, Supervisor, Mr. Hickman from Modern indicated that if the bid was awarded to them, he could be available at the February 11th work session. I believe that's at 3 p.m. that day. And the goal is for him to do and help us with public outreach to transition from the weekly to the bi-weekly. I know that some people may not be able to make the session in terms of citizens to get this information, but it would be available on YouTube. And there will be probably at least 2 public town hall informational meetings, as well as flyers and at least 2 newsletters to residents to transition us from the weekly to the bi-weekly. And we're looking at the transition occurring around May 1.
Very good, very good.
Good, thank you, Tina, and again, thank you for all your hard work on this. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Moving on to communication. Town attorney, this is from the supervisor's office regarding town prosecutors. Please add to the January 28th town board agenda for the inclusion of Tina Hawthorne as town prosecutor without remuneration.
Second.
Anything on the
Yeah,
question?
and on the question, just to clarify, the town attorney will only act as prosecutor when one of our other 2 prosecutors are not present or available that evening. We anticipate this will be an exception rather than the rule.
That's correct, it doesn't happen very often, but in the event that one of the prosecutors is not available, then I need to be able to fill in.
Very good, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 2 is from Tina Hawthorne, kindly adopt the resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute the attached agreement with West Seneca Chamber of Commerce in consideration of $15,000 annually for certain services to be rendered in 2019.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item number 3 is also from our town attorney, Tina Hawthorne. Kindly adopt a resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute the attached agreement with Western New York Officials Association in a maximum amount of $4,000 annual for certain officials' fees related to Little Loop football.
Second.
Anything on the question?
Yeah, and the question just for the public, how this works is, because I was involved with Little League football for years. When the referees work a game at the Little League football, they collect all those receipts, and at the end of the year, they give those back to the town. We only pay them for the games where the referees actually work. So if they only put in 2,000, or if they only put enough games in to get $2,000, that's all we pay them.
Thank you, Mr. Hanley. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 4 is from Matthew English. Please appoint Neil McCormick as a part-time laborer in Buildings and Grounds Department effective January 28, 2019 at a rate of $11.10 an hour, contingent upon passing drug and alcohol testing, having the supervisor sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 5 is also from Matthew English. Please appoint Colin Horan as part-time laborer in Buildings and Grounds Department effective January 28 at a rate of $11.10 an hour, contingent upon passing drug and alcohol testing, having the supervisor sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 6 is also from Matthew English. Please terminate Thomas Shepard as Highway Crew Chief and appoint him as Highway General Crew Chief, Group 7, Step 5, at a rate of $33.56 per hour, effective January 28th, as per the blue collar contract, having the supervisor to sign the necessary forms with the Erie County personnel.
Second.
And Mr. Shepherd is here. Mr. Shepherd, are you here?
Yep, there's Mr. Shepherd.
Can you stand up?
Stand up so we can see you.
All right, there you go. There you go.
Congratulations.
And I just want you to know how impressed I am with so many of the highway guys here tonight and those hard-working sanitation guys. Stay warm this week. It's gonna be rough out there. God bless you. Tom, you should spring for some hand warmers with all that.
Okay.
Item number 7 is from Chief Dens. Respectfully request permission to purchase state contract pricing, Section 103, Subdivision 16 of the New York State General Municipal Law, 3 new police vehicles to replace 3 current police vehicles as part of the fleet replacement rotation.
Second.
Anything on the question? Just on the question, I just want to let the public know that the purchase of these vehicles has been through a grant through Senator Gallivan's office, and Karen is here representing the senator tonight. So Karen, go back to the senator if you will and give him our best regards and very much appreciate his help on that $100,000 grant that he got us.
No problem.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item number 8 is also from Chief Dens. Kindly approve the annual payment of $23,014 to Onsolve LLC per signed agreement between the town and Onsolve for its use of maintenance of the Code Red reverse 911 system.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item number 9 is also from Chief Den, respectfully requesting your approval for the purchase of fiber optic connectivity equipment for the police radio system in the amount of $6,925. This upgrade is mandated, and also this unexpected and unfunded mandate, the purchase can be absorbed from the 2019 budget through line .50443.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 10 is also from Chief Dens. Please authorize 4 officers to attend New York State Tactical Officers Training Conference, April 16th through April 19th in Verona, New York. This annual training event is that offers our officers have routinely attended in the past and will not exceed the cost of $3,000.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item 11 is also from Chief Dens. Please authorize Captain Edward Baker and 1 officer to attend the International Law Enforcement Educating Training Association Training Conference, March 18th through March 22nd in St. Louis, Missouri. The total cost of this training should not exceed $3,000.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 12 is from Jacqueline Felser regarding kindly appoint Anna Cedra, part-time clerk typist at a rate of $15 per hour, effective January 28th, 2019. Part-time seasonal status from January 29th through February 28th. Authorizing the supervisor to complete and sign the necessary forms with the Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 13, whereas this is a resolution for the senior center funding from the finance director, whereas the town was awarded funding from the county of Erie for the purpose of purchasing a laptop and screens by the senior center in the amount of $2,500, whereas the cash was received and funding would be recognized as revenue in the general fund and other general revenue in account .2770, therefore be it resolved that the town board does hereby authorize the budget amendment to the 2018 budget to increase other general revenue in .2770 by $2,500 for the receipt of Erie County funding and correspondingly increase the senior center equipment line .0200 by $2,500 for the purchase of the laptop and screen.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Excuse me. Item number 14 is from Lauren Massett. Please allow the supervisor to execute the necessary documents to enter into agreement with Royal Soccer and Insured Western New York Amateur Soccer Association, U.S. Adult Soccer Association Incorporated, and its members of the national affiliates, leagues, and teams for use of the West Seneca complex. Please note this agreement is contingent upon receiving updated certificate of insurance no later than March 1st, 2019.
Second.
Anything on the
Yeah,
question?
I'd like to go on the question real quick. I know we have, seems like we're getting quite a few outside organizations using the soccer park. And of course, I'm concerned that there is more than sufficient time available for our own local soccer groups. I think there's actually two, there's a second, Gold Premier Soccer League, and this one is Royal Soccer. They're completely outside the town. And what do we do to communicate and coordinate with our local soccer organization?
So to answer your first question, the West Seneca Central School District and the West Seneca Soccer Club get first dibs at the West Seneca Soccer Park. And then third dibs will go to will go to Western New York Flash, and then fourth dibs would go to any other third parties that would file. The third parties that file are on a first come, first served basis. So for example, if you're the first third party to file or the fourth party to file, Tina's the second and I'm the third. If there are 10 slots left available, you request 8, Tina requests 3, and I request 2. You would get your full 8. Tina would get 2 out of her 3, and I would get none.
And there's like an order, West Seneca Soccer is first priority, and also who actually does the scheduling? It's gotta be quite a complicated schedule, but I forget how many soccer pads we have over there.
So historically, the West Seneca Soccer Club has assigned a scheduler to the soccer complex. They handle the scheduling for us, and that's also how it's done for our other baseball diamonds, softball diamonds, and the ice rink.
So the West Seneca organizations actually do the scheduling, is that what you're saying?
Correct, in coordination with their office.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Anything further? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item 15 is also from Lauren Massett. Please allow the supervisor to execute the necessary documents to enter into an agreement with Sweet Buffalo Rocks Incorporated for the use of Harlem Road Park on April 20th, 2019.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item 16 is also from Lauren Massett. Please allow the supervisor to execute the documents to enter into an agreement with Global Premier Soccer GPS and the insured New York State West Youth Soccer Association for the West Seneca Soccer Complex.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item number 17 is from Mary Josephat. Please approve the request for change of pay for Jennifer Stanek, fitness instructor of West Seneca Senior Center Fitness from January 2nd, 2019, from her current rate of $17 as allocated in the 2019 budget. For the record, Jennifer wasn't included in the past 2 raises that will bring her up to par. Your approval will be greatly appreciated, and ask the supervisor to sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. I have a resolution here. Good. From Association of Towns. She does. No, Jackie. Whereas the governor's proposed 2020 New York State budget includes unprecedented cuts to unrestricted state revenue sharing program known as AID and incentives to a municipality, which is known as AIM, in the amount of $49 million, effectively eliminating the program. And whereas funding has not been increased in the last several years for unfunded mandates and the cost to towns and villages have risen. Whereas the cuts go through a shocking 91% of towns and villages will permanently lose their AIM funding, whereas the incentive for shared services, consolidation, infrastructure remediation directed by the consent orders in no way replace the need and financial assistance to fund and manage the increasing costs of the day-to-day services and capital projects needed to sustain town and village planning and management. And whereas the proposal to eliminate AIM funding unfairly pushes state residents, making financial planning aligned with New York State tax cap virtually impossible. And whereas the governor is proposing to make the tax cap permanent, continue $65 million in extreme winter recovery program. And I repeat that, he's eliminating extreme weather recovery program funding and proposes no increase for CHIPS funding, for which there has been widespread vocal support. Whereas the proposal to eliminate aid funding is not proactive, but a method to cut small percentage from the state budget, yet significant amount of revenue to town and villages' budgets. Now let it be resolved that the town of West Seneca, along with the associations of Erie County government, strongly opposes the elimination of AIM funding. And further resolved that AIM funding benefits all of the residents, not only in Erie County, but throughout the state of New York, and eliminating it could result in services, program cuts, and layoffs. Every dollar that the state shared is not a dollar that doesn't have to be levied on the backs of our taxpayers. And be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution will be sent on to the Honorable Governor Andrew Cuomo, the Speaker of the House and the Assembly. Need a second?
I will second that strongly.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that. I also want the residents of West Seneca to know that our senator has sent us, Patrick Galvin, has sent a letter of support to all the supervisors and mayors that he represents regarding the AIM funding, and he wants us to know that he is opposed to the reduction and will work with his colleagues, along with Senator Kennedy, who is a very good friend of the town of West Seneca, to restore these cuts as part of the budget process. This will affect our budget in 2020. And this is something that the town is close to $400,000 in funding. And that is close to 3% in property tax increase right from the get-go. Okay?
Also, I've been in contact with Assemblyman Burke and expressed my dismay at these uncalled for and impractical cuts. And Assemblyman Burke has assured me that he'll be working very, very hard to get these funds restored. So with all of our delegation working together, hopefully we won't have to face this hole in our budget next year.
That's correct. That's correct, yes. So again, Karen thanked the senator for his never-ending support for the town of West Seneca. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Make a motion to approve the report of Jacqueline Felser, Town Clerk, report for December 2018, and end of the year receiver of taxes for 2018, and the year report, along with Jeffrey Sheeper, Code Enforcement Officer, Building and Plumbing reports for December of 2018.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Make a motion to approve the warrant.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. And I also just wanted to make mention tonight, I did mention it at the work session, that the state of New York, DASNY, which we've received several grants from, is now in the process of putting out an RFP for the Children's Psych Center. What that means to us is that they are going to invest in the Children's Psych Center, not only in that building, but another outbuilding. So the promise that the governor made to us, that he wouldn't send the children downtown, that he's going to keep that facility open, has been made and granted. So on behalf of so many families and this board and several other local leaders, that was a fight well fought, and the end result is a positive one.
And I was in contact with them today, and they wanted to thank the town of West Seneca for being the first municipality to stand up and fight. And of course we should, because it's in our home, it's our people, it's our families. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Now, the other thing is, I got an email today. Did either of you get an email regarding open government, supporting open government and the commitment of best practices? Did you get that? Jean, Bill?
I did not.
So Jackie, everything he's asking us to say yes to on this, we already do.
Except the last one.
Yeah, but we're not a government of 50,000.
Yeah, but if you read,
Yeah.
What was that? Could I see it?
Oh, okay, so the ethics committee is that, we'll do that at the next board meeting. I'll send the email to both of you, so you have an opportunity to review it. It's just asking us to do that. Tina, I'll send it to you too.
Thank you.
You have something as well. Then the last thing is, I know we're gonna go, until executive session. John Fens has sent us all an email asking to go into an executive session. And my understanding is that we can go ahead and do some repairs to the Birchfield structure.
That is my understanding as well.
So go ahead.
Sorry, just to be clear, he's requesting the executive session to discuss the pending litigation on Birchfield and also pending litigation on workers' comp board case number G2030867.
Okay, I have that right here, so I will give that right at the end. But I just think it's important for us going forward that perhaps next month, we should have a public hearing on what the public would like to see us do as a board going forward with the Birchfield, knowing that now we can go ahead and do some repairs, or do we go ahead with the engineer's recommendation for what he's telling us to do? Or do we go ahead and look to contractors, RFP it, and see what we can do as far as restructuring that? We know the heating system is up in the attic, it doesn't belong there. We know that we have some serious issues structurally with the building. Is the building to be taken down? Is the part of it that we can salvage? I think we need to, now that we know we can go ahead and get in there, I think we need to have a public hearing, get the public's opinion on what they want us to, what they see, the Birchfield, and get out there and get some quotes and see what we can do to get the Birchfield back to where it should have been right from the beginning.
We do have the report by the forensic architect. I don't believe that's been released to the public yet, has it?
I don't know, but that's a question we can ask John Fens, because
Yeah.
he's still working on that along with Tina, so let us get those questions
I would-
answered, but I think we need to have a public hearing on the Birchfield.
I would be in favor at this point if attorneys agree to putting that up on our website so that people can see what the report is and the extent of the damage.
Well, don't offer it yet, because Mrs. Kim's is gonna wanna see it, and if we don't put it up there, she'll wonder why, so first we'll find out if we can legally, but more importantly, I think, as soon as possible, we need to have a public hearing on the Birchfield, put everything out there that we know about it, and see what the public would like to see. The Birchfield volunteers have spent tens of thousands of hours making incredible inroads from where it was when I began as a councilwoman, and I just don't wanna see that go. So, I would just like to make a motion to get a public hearing and get the board to agree that we put a public hearing together for March.
I support that.
I'll second that, within the limits of our attorneys.
Exactly, very good. All right, thank you. I think that's all I have.
Madam Supervisor, you will schedule that then?
You know I will.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Thank you, Councilman. Okay, Lauren, do you have anything for us?
Always.
That girl, you might be related to Jean.
Just a
I
reminder,
hope not, I voted to appoint her.
I don't know if I should be offended about that or not offended about that. Just a reminder to the residents that summer program registration begins this Friday, February 1st, for all valid resident ID card holders. For those that are unable to attend our regular hours of ID card issuance, this Saturday, February 2nd, our office will be open from 10:15 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. specifically for the purpose of issuing ID cards. We will not be accepting any registrations during that time. On Saturday, February 16th, from 10:15 to 12:15, we'll be hosting our first, hopefully annual, summer program registration fair. Residents will be able to obtain ID cards, and valid resident ID card holders will be able to register for our summer programs. Our friends from West Seneca Girls Softball and West Seneca Soccer Club have also agreed to join the event. They will be on site accepting registrations for their programs as well. Flyers regarding this event can be found near the agendas for tonight's meeting, as well as online. And I would also encourage everyone to check out our new winter programs. They have been growing in popularity, so they're on our social media and our website. Thank you.
Wonderful. Great work, Lauren. Tina, do you have anything for us?
Nothing further, Madam Supervisor.
Thank you, Town Attorney. Chief Dens?
I have two items of interest on our agenda item, the vehicle purchase. I do want to thank Senator Galvin and Mitch Martin. They worked diligently with me, and I especially like to also thank our grant writer, Connie Miner, who is well worth our investment every year, because she brings in a ton of money, especially to the police department, to help us with our equipment purchases. And number 11, sending our fellows to the International Law Enforcement Educator Training Association. I'd like the public to know that one of our officers, Officer Anthony Serafini, was selected from a pool of candidates from the nation to do a presentation on our SRO program. So the cost of that would probably be a little less than I put on there, but he is going to be doing a presentation at a nationwide law enforcement audience, professionals, and touting our successes in our SRO program. So kudos to him for putting his training program together. He'll be presenting to upwards of 1,000 law enforcement professionals in the arena, so good luck to him.
Yeah.
But, he's very capable of it, and I'm very proud of him. He did this on his own. He reached out to them, applied for it, and they gave him the resounding nod. He will be doing a major presentation on our school resource officer program, so good for him.
Chief, I want to compliment you on that. This is putting the town in a national spotlight again. And under your leadership, you have done some incredible things. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jeff Baska, how are you this evening?
I'm good, thank you.
And welcome. Jeff will now be representing Code Enforcement Office going forward, so welcome.
Thank you.
Do you have anything for us tonight?
Not this evening, I don't.
Okay, very good.
See you soon.
You know it, tomorrow morning. Jacqueline Felser, Town Clerk, do you have anything for us? Okay, very good. Gene Hart, do you have anything for us?
Yes, just a couple. I was wondering, this is an ad for recreation. How are we doing on hiring staff that we need to run our new programs?
0 applicants.
0 applicants at this point. So I hope that everybody in this room will get the word out that there's opportunities. I think we start everybody at minimum wage now, which is close to $11, or you start them higher now?
Employees start at $12 an hour if they have a valid first aid and CPR certification, but it does have to be one of the certifications listed on our website. They start at $12.25, and then if they're in a leadership position, it's higher.
So I'm certainly encouraging, if you have sons and daughters, wives, or yourself, and you want to work in recreation, I watch the programs quite often, and it actually looks like fun to run them, so it's a good opportunity. Now, Chief Dens, I'm just wondering if Officer Serafini, if my fellow members of the board would approve, that if Officer Serafini would put on either his entire program or an edited version of his program, because I think it would be useful for the people of West Seneca to know just what our SROs do.
I believe that'd be very difficult for him to do in this venue, because it's very technical. It speaks towards the professional level competence. It's not designed for a lay presentation. I can ask him if he can design something for that, but I know his presentation's about 2 hours long.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's why I was indicating maybe some sort of takeoff on it that would be more suitable for our citizens. I think it's a good thing to do, to tell everybody just what we do as, or what you do and your men do as SROs.
I have to get back to you on that.
Thank you.
I know, I forgot. That's okay.
Councilman Hanley, do you have anything?
Something not really related to this town board, but I looked at the weather before tonight's meeting. I would suggest that you guys get your bread and your milk before you go home. I'm supposed to be getting about, Tommy, get your phone out and give us your phone number because we're gonna need it. Supposed to be getting about 8 inches of snow tomorrow and 12 inches the next day. So our highway guys, you're gonna earn it. So, thank you.
Or you go with the Jimmy Griffin idea? Some of those kids are too young back there to even know what that means.
Right, right.
But, that being said, I just want to introduce Taylor Negrelli. He's the new Bee reporter for the town, and the Bee is the town's paper. So, Taylor, welcome. And you can stand up so everyone can see your handsome face. Very nice. Good luck to you. You'll need it. And I'm just going to ask, is there's anyone from, before we go into an executive session, if there's anyone from the public that has a comment, feel free to come on up.
Good evening, Andrew Chapella. It's interesting that Mr. Cuomo wants to, I'm not gonna say honorable because I don't think he is, wants to reduce our funding here, but yet supposedly New York State's gonna have this giant windfall from marijuana taxes. And I know there's I can't remember, I actually met him at ECC. I was the only one at the public hearing up at the Holiday Inn that voiced this very opinion that where do we think this tax windfall is gonna go? It's gonna go right into the pockets of the politicians. We're not gonna see an ounce of that windfall. And a strongly worded letter, I'm all for that, but maybe signatures may be better if somebody could start an actual petition that we could have people sign at town hall meetings to convey our disgust to Mr. Cuomo and stuff. Because right now he has, the majority in both the assembly and the legislature that he can do whatever he wants.
Andrew, on Wednesday, I'm meeting with many legislatures that are going to be putting something similar that together to get the public in a rally so that the message is sent clearly. But I will say we have really great representation, and our Senator Galvin, along with Senator Kennedy, who now Senator Kennedy has a major lead role there, and he has promised that he would do his utmost to make that happen before they send it to the assembly. And I'm confident that the new assemblyman will see his way to knowing that this is the right thing to do, because it really, really will hurt our budgets. And it's an unfortunate thing, but thank you, Andrew.
Well, just a couple more. I wanted to convey my thanks for, I don't know if you guys had any involvement in getting that signal over on Ridge Road to blink yellow.
That would be Maddie English.
God bless him for that, but now we need to fix the one over by Union, because the firehouse no longer there. We try to either make that one like just a call signal. My other biggest argument.
That's a state road, but I have no problem calling Mr. Kaminsky and asking him.
I can't remember, it's not, I think that's Orchard.
Oh,
I'm not
well,
mistaken.
actually, Karen, if you could go back to the office, Orchard and Union, there's a flashing light.
No. It's a hard signal.
It's a hard signal to make it a flashing light.
Okay.
Madam Supervisor, I just want to speak in, and I know that's a trip switch off of Orchard. So a vehicle has to come up to Orchard before anybody can get out.
Oh, good.
I know, and I'm okay with that.
Mix it,
But
Karen.
this one right here that we got on Union, I know Union is a county road, that flashing yellow is a distraction. We even had, I apologize, I couldn't do my homework before the meeting, I've had a very long day. We had, I believe it was a state assemblyman that wanted to outlaw radios in vehicles because they thought it was a distraction. I think this yellow light's a distraction, man. Who doesn't know when the light's green, you gotta yield on your turn, and all of a sudden now we got this blinking yellow light that every now, because I still focus on the road as if I'm driving in Iraq or Afghanistan. I'm looking on the sides, and when I pan back and forth, all of a sudden I see that yellow flash. I'm thinking, oh, do I need to stop? It's a distraction to me.
Those are like left and right turn arrows, aren't they?
What's the one right here in Southgate Plaza?
That's okay, yeah, they're
And
new.
it flashes the yellow while it's green. I'm like, we're not, driving hasn't changed much since I started driving back in the Stone Ages. Granted, the volume has changed. We start throwing in all these other things, it's gonna be distracting. If a state senator considers a radio distraction,
Well, it wasn't ours, so.
what's that?
It wasn't ours.
No.
I know Union Road is a county road, but we have
So it's Union and Orchard?
well, Union Orchard is a hard light.
Okay,
That
all
I would
right.
love to see, either eliminated.
You
And
know,
I'm all about, hey, let's keep going and save gas and
Chief said no on that
be
one.
good for the environment. we get rid of more signals, we save
Yeah, but
gas.
the light on Orchard is a trip light.
Yeah, so we're gonna keep that one.
The other ones here on, Union and at the Southgate Plaza, that or maybe, and I don't like the Southgate Plaza having two signals, the one on Seneca. It seems like every time I get the green arrow on Union to go down Seneca, I get stopped at the red right there at that.
So wouldn't it be great to have a roundabout there?
No, I say get rid of that signal. Let's not pay for more stuff.
Thank you, Andrew.
I just wanted to convey my thanks again to the town highway department for clearing the streets and also for putting up the nativity scene and the menorah during the holiday season.
No,
It's freedom of religion, not from religion.
not to worry. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you for your service.
My pleasure, always try.
Good man.
I'd like to follow up on the electrical inspector that I've been talking to the town board about for the past couple of meetings. And if the town really is serious about saving money, I'm gonna read off what was in the paper and was also said here, and with you guys giving me information on this. So the town board created a position which started out part-time, now it's full-time. It was created so the town board could keep fees Commonwealth received in the past, which was around $45,000. That's the answer the board has said. Now we are getting $60,000 in revenue. The new job that was created pays $87,791 plus benefits plus overtime. Over $100,000 a year. A loss to taxpayers on or around $40,000. This job can be done by code enforcement, and what cannot be done by code enforcement can be done by Commonwealth. In the past, Commonwealth did not charge the town nothing, cost the residents zilch. This new job's costing us $100,000. So why would we create this? Why would the board create this? A job that was not costing the taxpayers and ended up costing the taxpayers a salary of at least $100,000. I'm asking that this board do the right thing for the taxpayers and eliminate this expensive position that was not needed. If they feel they have to have a part-time job, then create a part-time job, saving the residents thousands of dollars. The man that has this job, according to our own electrical sheet you got here that I got, basically is supposed to have a master's license and also an electrical license. Our man don't have either. Mr. Haley, you said that the man does not have a master's license in the town of West Seneca.
That's correct.
If he's gonna inspect for the town of West Seneca, I would think he'd have to be qualified in the town of West Seneca. He's not. Someplace else in the Fort, if you want me to look it up, I will. He don't even have an electrical license in the town of West Seneca. What makes this man go around and harass the public that they have to have this, send out letters, okay? And also cost the taxpayers all kinds of money. This job is just a big white elephant on the taxpayers. Why you have it, I don't know.
Thank
You said, no, thank you, I'm not done yet. I didn't interrupt you. Were you afraid of saving the taxpayers money?
Not at
Yeah,
all.
well, pay attention then, because maybe you'll do the right thing, okay?
I've
You
always-
did the right thing when you wasted $3,000 a month on a public relations firm. You finally smartened up and got rid of that. This job is not needed, period. So please think about it. If you wanna save money, that you keep saying that it's costing the taxpayers money, this is a great start,
Thank you, Mr.
okay?
Clerk.
Let me tell you that. Part two of my thing would be, basically, what was just given to me today, and I kinda looked some stuff up. On a numerous amount of occasions, November and October, when we had these meetings on the budget, didn't you tell the public that the taxes are gonna go up 4%? Then why, in a lot of cases, is the public, on the general fund, 8.8%?
Why, that's not
On
true.
the general, it's not true. You want me to bring you my taxes? You want me to bring you a numerous amount of taxes with 8.8% on the general fund?
Yeah, I think that's the way you're calculating it. Everybody's tax bill is
No, that's the
different.
way I'm paying it.
No, the general tax increase was about 3%, but it depends on where you're looking at
What
on
would
your
you,
tax
what would you
bill.
say if I, tomorrow morning, I'll meet you wherever you wanna meet, and I'll show you mine at 8.8%?
Sure.
Do I get a reimbursement?
No, we'll sit you right down and we'll.
You don't have to sit me down, I had to pay my taxes, it's 8.8 on the general fund.
Clark,
So
we have no
how do you
problem.
tell the public it was 4%
Because that's
and
what
it's 8.8 on a lot of cases?
Because your highway tax went down.
But still shouldn't make the general tax go up.
The overall was about a 3% increase.
then why, as I'm saying, why is it then 8.8 on the general fund?
It's probably just the fuzzy math that you're using, Dale.
The fuzzy math that I'm using? I think it's the fuzzy math that you people are charging the people in the town of Waseca.
Not true, Carl Clark.
It's,
But
well,
thank
I'll tell you what, who do I get to show that to? Because I know mine is 8.8, and the people that I've talked to.
You can come here tomorrow, I start my day at 8 o'clock.
I don't wanna show you people because I would love to show the media. I would love to show the media what basically the town
Parker,
is
we have
telling the
nothing to
residents.
hide.
Huh?
You wanna sit with the finance director tomorrow, what time?
Well, that's
works?
another job that should be eliminated, but you don't wanna go there with
Parker,
me on
we're
that
the-
one, I'll tell
We're
you.
the last town to get a finance director,
Yeah,
so
well,
God bless
but
you.
you got the raise for it. Why are you hiring her to do your job? Anyways,
Seriously,
that's my
Parker,
last
you
question.
know exactly how hard I work, so.
I know how hard you work. Are you kidding me? Come on, stop it.
God bless you, Clarky.
Yeah, I know. You're here from 7 to 7 too, aren't you?
Clarky,
No, Mr. Haley, she here from 7 to 7 in the morning? 7 at night?
I don't keep her books. I
No,
don't-
but you
She is here.
basically said that at a meeting. Mr. Haley,
Yep.
you said that at a meeting when the taxes went up.
What I said at a meeting is, this supervisor has put in more hours than any of the previous
Stanley,
supervisors
You
before.
also said that she worked 7 to 7, she was entitled to that raise she got.
I know if I call her at
Does this look
7,
familiar to you, Mr. Hanley?
I know if I call her at 7 o'clock, she's here,
Does this look familiar to you?
except for the scribble part, yes.
Does it? Do you really mean what you said on this campaign thing? Taxes, time to find a relief for the residents of West Seneca. You ain't done that, Mr. Hanley. Responsible and controlled spending. Well, you can save the taxpayers $100,000 by eliminating that job. So I would really wish the propaganda you sent out to get elected, you kind of withheld what you said.
I also voted no on 3 of the budgets.
Oh, yeah, no, that was a game too, but you voted yes on this one.
thank you again, Clarky.
Okay.
God bless.
See you next meeting.
You know it, look forward to it. Sleep well.
I will.
Anyone
Further?
Yes.
I was here in September about the trees. I don't know if you guys remember me.
Yes.
We're supposed to be getting 30-mile-an-hour winds tomorrow. Every time the wind blows, I panic. I shake and I cry, waiting for another tree to fall on my house. The last meeting that I was here in September of 2018, you gave me your word that things were going to change, that you were going to do something to help me. My neighbor on the other side who's been affected by the trees, the dead tree situation, paid out of his own pocket to get rid of trees that were threatening his home and his property. I can't afford to do that. And I look to this board to help me. I have an email here from Jeff Baxa. The town of West Seneca has agreed to change procedure and follow the guidelines used by surrounding municipalities when dealing with the issue of dying trees and the hazards they pose. West Seneca is currently seeking an individual to act as an arborist on behalf of the town to identify dead trees that pose a hazard to surrounding structures. Once a tree is identified as being dead and a hazard, the property owner will be notified and given 60 days to remove the tree. If not done in the time given, the tree will be taken down by the town and the fee will be assessed to the tax roll of said property. I was thrilled. This was just days after I spoke to you folks before, and I just want to say how much I appreciate this work. But so far, nothing's been done to the property next door to me.
Okay. Jeff, did you want to respond to that? Did you go out there and look at that?
I didn't personally go out and look at the trees, but I did receive the email from you. Can you just remind me of your address?
155 Lydecker.
Okay, so I had mentioned to you what we had discussed in our office, and I believe we had also discussed it with you, Mr. Hart, the procedure that we would be following with the trees. And I believe the email that I sent her is what we came up with. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, we've done that already in a couple cases.
Yeah, so it's as far as contacting the highway department and you know, getting somebody out to look at those trees if we are using the arborist.
I've used the arborist in a couple neighborhoods where I've handled those, but I will say that I think Maddie actually outsources the arborists.
Is Mr. Shepherd still here? Oh.
Okay.
I do know Maddie does outsource that if his team is busy. Obviously, they're gonna be very busy this week. and then we would just put it on the tax rolls, but, I would ask Jeff then tomorrow, if you could, first thing in the morning, go to her home and take a peek.
I can make an appointment to go there Thursday, I can speak to you on the phone. What I would ask is that you would call me, tomorrow, please, between 12 and 1 o'clock.
Okay,
And I will make phone calls for you in the morning to find out who we need to get in touch with to help you further.
I think
okay,
we had I had the very definite impression that there were to be trees taken down along the line. And I actually thought that some of them had been taken down.
Some were taken down. Like
some were
Mr.
taken
Burke.
down, but they were at the expense of the neighbor on the other side of this property. He can afford to pay for it. And,
Well, he should be paying for it, actually.
no, that's not the person who owns the property. It's, the neighbors on either side of this property are not owned by either one of us. And that's what was absolutely obnoxious when I confronted this gentleman over the phone, Mr. Borkowski, who is the owner of the property, and he told me, if you remember, they're not my trees, they're God's trees. I hope you have homeowners insurance, he says.
Does Mr. Burke still live there?
Borkowski?
Yeah.
He has his home right now is a few houses down
Right.
from them, and there's a sale pending on his house. So he's done.
But
This
he
is,
had a ton of trees taken down.
no, he did not on that property
Yeah.
next to me. It wasn't him, it was the neighbor next door.
No, actually, it was National Grid.
It was the grid, just all the dead ash trees on the other side of the street.
That was
from there.
National Grid. I only know that because I spoke to them, because they came out and they made quite a mess through the streets and stuff.
Well, this particular property next to me, I've not seen National Grid back there.
Yeah, they were.
Okay, but that doesn't impact
You.
the houses, or the trees that are in range of striking my house again. And since I've been here appealing to you in September, I've had 5 more trees fall, and one actually even grazed my house again. Every time the wind blows, I am petrified, absolutely petrified. I can see and hear the wood of these dead trees knocking against each other. I can hear it. And the wind's just blowing, and I'm just waiting. I'm afraid I'm gonna be killed in my own house.
Well,
And,
I do know that the language has been changed, we've done that much, I think the only thing missing is the landowner was never notified to cut his trees down. And let me just correct the record, it was NICEAG, not National Grid, that's a different property, nothing to do with yours, so.
so, he was never notified by who? Mr. Borkowski was never notified by West
Well, I'm
Seneca?
only assuming that he was never notified by West Seneca.
was he, Jeff?
The process and the way it's set up is that I can't send a letter to the gentleman and tell him to take his trees down until there's been a decision made that the trees are dead and are a hazard. And then I can send that to him, and then if he doesn't do it in that 60-day period, that's when, the highway department would step in.
Sir, I don't have 60 days.
I understand that, and that's why, I was asking you to call me tomorrow afternoon so that I can make some phone calls
Okay.
to see who's done what as to this point. I don't wanna give you information that would be wrong at this time, so I wanna check it out tomorrow morning. I'll give you a card, you can give me a call, and we'll go from there.
And just so you know, I've sent letters to Mr. Borkowski about, and I've talked to him on the phone about the damage to my house and the imminent damage that can occur going forward. And he's pretty much hung up on me, and he's refused certified letters and would not, would not accept them, so they came back to me. So this man's not willing to cooperate, or he has no, he doesn't care about his neighbor at all. He does not care if his trees hurt somebody, damage property. He's, you know, I need your help because I'm not getting anywhere with him, so
Okay. So,
You're gonna contact Jeff,
I'm gonna.
and then Jeff, we'll go from there. I'll get you the name of the arborist I use for some of these situations, because you're not alone. These trees are everywhere.
and
I do know that there has been some money allocated through Senator Kennedy and Galvin. I think it's like $400, that's not enough to take a tree down, but I do know that some of those dollars have been put together a couple years back because of the Emerald Ash. But talk to Jeff, and if you need me, you know where I am, so
Okay.
just give me a call.
Yeah, the letter that I sent to you, Jeff, I also copied you on it, and I copied a lot of people
Very good.
in the town of West Seneca. There was another attorney that,
John Fence, but now it's Tina Hawthorne.
okay,
Okay,
all right, thank you.
thank you, have a good night,
Thank you.
be safe.
Hello, work for Republic Services. I just wanted to go on the record and say that, as you're all well aware, due to the collapse of commodities pricing throughout North America and Europe, there's been a significant change in recycled markets. It's caused the bid documents to have to be rewritten to account for these changes. And typically what will happen in situations like that, there'll be a pre-bid, an attorney will invite the potential bidders in to review the documents and basically make sure everyone's on the same page. So our attorney had basically identified significant irregularities in the bid, or things that were ambivalent as to how the pricing document was put together. And so by not having that pre-bid and not rebidding the service now, by our accounts, the town of West Seneca will be paying about $230,000 more for the service than they would have.
And sir, I know you've been saying,
So that's all that we want to say, and we thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, so I was in contact with John Fence today, who indicated, well, I can't speak to whether or not you in fact did come in and review the bids, but this is the first I'm hearing, having met with your company on January 2nd, of bid irregularities that you were bringing to our attention. That was never raised in my meeting with your company on January 2nd. In fact, what I think is the issue here is that it appears that your company had desired to amend their bid after the bidding process was closed because your proposal indicated one thing, but in our meeting, you sought to reduce by half the number in Part B for fixed fees in processing of recyclables. So we do appreciate your comments, but I am aware that, and I've seen emails between you and the prior attorney, John Fence, and when I say you, I mean your company. Some of them were specifically from you, having an opportunity to ask any and all questions with respect to the notice for bids that he put out.
Yeah, so that sort of makes the point exactly. There was no desire to amend the bid whatsoever. We were merely filling out in a gross minus the net fee, which is what the bid document indicated. And so by not rebidding the services, you're effectively having the citizens pay more than they need to.
Well, unfortunately, by the timing of when you must have realized,
It wasn't a realization. We
okay, I'm sorry, let me
specifically
let you
designed
finish
it.
before I talk.
Go ahead.
So, my understanding, having come new onto this job on January 2nd, and I think we met days after that, in fact. And that is the first that it was brought to the legal department's attention that you sought to change one of your bidding numbers.
It wasn't a change in the document.
Okay, well, we can argue about that, but, I mean, I don't want you to mislead the public.
There's no misleading, it should have been rebid.
would you please let the attorney finish?
Sure.
What I was going to say is that the timing in which you brought it to our attention did not allow for rebidding facing the contract expiring on January 31st in the rules that we have for that bidding process. Also, it was not even really until a couple of days ago insisted by your firm that there be a rebidding process, but it wasn't, there was no time for it at that point in time. We can't get an extension of our current services because this board is not willing to violate the general municipal law. So we appreciate your comments, but I want to make sure that the public is clear on what happened.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But I would just say that contracts are extended for 30 to 60 days many times throughout municipalities all across New York for situations just like this.
And that may be, I would ask that you talk to your in-house counsel about looking at general municipal law, section 103.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I just want to say something to the public. If you go online, the Buffalo News has a great news story today about what is happening with the recycling market in general.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. It is a good article.
I read it. Okay. Oh. Mrs. Kim's, look at you.
Sorry, well, just one more thing. I love the new meeting room. The chairs are much more comfortable than what we had in the other room. There is one problem though.
I know, let me guess. You don't
Well,
like the rollers.
When I sit, my feet don't touch the floor. But if I should turn my shoulders, the chair moves. It rolls very easily. So sitting down, you have to be very careful and hold it in place, and the same with getting up. I'm just afraid that someone's going to get hurt and the town will be sued.
Thanks for putting that on the record.
Sure, our legal counsel appreciates it. Now, Andrew, sit down. I can't do anything about you not being able to touch the floor, but I will tell you, Jean has expressed that same concern. We've had hundreds of people in here so far, and we might have got one or two concerns, not complaints. They love the chairs, they love the comfort, they love the movability. When I pick these chairs out, I will tell you, and these tables, because they fold up real nice and slide along, they have a lot, they're workers' comp proof, if you will. Nobody lifts them, they're stackable, they're slidable, there's very less of an injury to a staffer that has to move these things around. But I have been told that we can get stoppers for the back. So I'm looking into that, and we'll put the stoppers on the back of them, and they won't be, and then we'll be fine.
I've seen this room, you've had the tables up with the chairs at the tables, and I'm wondering if it.
No, we
for
can't do
meetings,
that. No, not for a board meeting, no, we wouldn't put tables up.
But aren't they up generally?
No.
I mean, anytime I've seen them, it's been tables and chairs.
No, it depends on like what kind of meeting, like if you're having a speaker come in and he has some handouts and there's some work, some desk tasks to do, yes, we'll put these out, but no, not for just a regular meeting, no. Why, you want a table? Do you want me to get you a table? You can sit up there.
You get me a little step, like, you know?
Let me tell you, Mrs. Kim,
I'll have the carpenters make it for you.
having a table in front of you doesn't keep these chairs from rolling, because I'm worried that I'm gonna go right through the back wall here.
No, when I was at the zoning board meeting, as I got up to leave, I went to get up and the chair shot out from underneath me,
Okay,
and if the gentleman next to me wouldn't have.
got you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, understood, thank you for that,
And I agree with you.
Gene wants, we're gonna give him a seatbelt.
Want a race?
Okay. Yeah, we could have races. That's good, Karen, way to start more trouble. All right, so we're going to move into an executive session on two legal items, the Birchfield litigation and a workers' comp case. And I will say that to all those great men and women who have served this great country, we thank you. And to all the students, and you're welcome, to all the students that are here that need a signature, come on up and we'll sign your paperwork. Thank you, everyone. Good night.